Hey, welcome to the Blue Dragon Guild. I'm Baron, and with me is Dave and our very special guest, Tommy from Madth Productions.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in this live stream, we're going to talk about probably several different things, but primarily we're going to be talking about our favorite classes and favorite subclasses, and also what our D&D dream team would be if we were picking a four-man party and we could pick each class subclass that it would be. I'm going to throw the spotlight right on Dave. Dave, what do you got? What are your favorite classes slash subclasses?
Well, it's weird. When for the longest time I've been playing D&D since second edition, and pretty much the entire time Druid was always my favorite. And now with fifth edition, after I've been playing it for God, what is it now, like 11 years or something like that, or more. But it's really ironically leaning toward kind of Ranger and also Sorcerer. The PHB Ranger obviously is, everybody, it's not the best, but once you introduce Tasha's, it completely changes everything. And additionally, with the subclasses from like Xanathar, and so for me, Ranger has kind of become a lot of fun to play, but not as much fun to kind of create and to set up. And I kind of like the Sorcerer a little bit more for that. That makes any kind of sense. More fun to make a Sorcerer, might be more fun to play a Ranger. But those two are, I don't know. I'm really tied between those two right now. Is my favorite classes.
I like it. I like it. What are your favorite subclasses for those?
Subclasses for Ranger is the Horizon Walker, and for Sorcerer is the Divine Soul Sorcerer. The Horizon Walker just gets some really interesting abilities, and I particularly love the fact that they eventually get haste. For a Ranger in that situation, like, it's an ideal spell for them. And for the Divine Soul Sorcerer, you can take your typical sorcerer or wizard type character. All of a sudden, boom, they've got healing, and they've got buff spells, and they can do beyond utility and combat, evocation and such. So it really kind of, I like it because it sort of breaks the mold of traditional arcane spellcasters.
Awesome. Looks like we got Rivers RPG in the chat. Rivers, thanks for checking it out. Rivers, he likes the Bard, and I also like the Bard. The Bard's good. Yeah, Dave. You know that I am not a big fan of Sorcerer. Honestly, I think Sorcerer is my least favorite class, even though it's good. It for me, it's just like a flavor thing of how I want my spellcasters to be. But yeah, Sorcerer not for me. But you've played several now in our games, and it seems to be that, and Ranger seems to be the one that you keep coming back to.
I do kind of, playing off what River said there, like Bard's probably my number 3, maybe either that or Paladin. But Bard is a ton of fun to play. Bard, actually, I'd probably almost go so far as to say Bard might be the most fun class, but I don't know. There's just something about some of the aspects of Ranger and Sorcerer that I really like. But Bards are really, really fun.
Yeah, that's probably my number 2, to be fair.
It's good. Awesome. Tommy, what about you?
Yeah. So where I said number 2 would be Bard, it had to be like the College of Lore Bard. Just because I like, so every time I make a character, right, as a DM, GM, whatever title we're going to use, I've created like so many different types, a wide array of character classes and subclasses. But as a player, I try to always make the character I'm going to play basically me in that setting that I'm playing in. So it ends up kind of pigeonholing me into like specific types of characters. But I'm super long-winded, and I love history, and I love storytelling. And I'm also really like goofy, and I try to be real passive and lighthearted. So I feel like College of Lore Bard is a good fit for me. I'm not musically inclined, but I am a storyteller, so I think it makes sense for me. But number one, similar to Dave, definitely a druid. Circle of the Moon all the way, because where I try to be passive as a bard, I love being able to wild shape into CR like one level beast as like basically a brand new player. Um, I like to think outside the box a lot with my characters, so I wild shape all the time into the most random things. If I think it could help move the story along or get us over or through an obstacle, that is my go-to. I'm not very great like in close quarters combat. Definitely don't count on me for that ever in the majority of my builds, but being able to kind of control the battlefield, I definitely love being able to do that.
Awesome.
So those are my top two, I think.
Awesome. In the very first 5th edition game we played, Dave played a druid, and yours was Circle of the Land, wasn't it?
Yep.
We had a ridiculous amount of fun in that first game, and a lot of the fun was because of the druid's wild shape. And the first druid I played, which made me love the class and subclass, was the Circle of the Moon. And like you said, Tommy, just being able to shift into that higher CR much earlier, just it makes a huge difference.
It's so much fun. Now, admittedly, the first time I really played it in like a real campaign, we didn't realize through like 2 sessions that I had been like grossly breaking the rules. Like I stayed within the CR of the beast that I was allowed to like wild shape into. But so for anybody watching this who's like me and was ignorant, you can't wild shape into flying beasts even if they are at 1 CR or below. And I had done that a couple of times, and like it wasn't game breaking when I did that or whatever, but for the story, cinematically or whatever, it was cool. So we ended up like giving my player like some sort of ailment as like penance for breaking the rules, but then we let me kind of continue using that ability moving forward. But yeah, so word of the wise, you can't use flyers as a Circle of the Moon druid until a certain point, way later towards the end game.
Yeah. I like that. Just like, oh yeah, you could keep doing this, but you're gonna have this backlash thing happen. That's fun. I like that.
It's if you've seen him on Twitter, James McCloy. He's Stormfang is a Kickstarter that he did before with a variation of player races and classes. But he also does a lot of artwork and digital artwork and miniature painting. But he's a phenomenal DM. One of only a handful of people I've actually got the honor to play for before. But he's a phenomenal DM. I would definitely play with him again anytime he asks me to.
Awesome. So for me, my number one favorite class is the Rogue. I've played not all, but I've played almost all of the Rogue subclasses. Number one, and this is purely nostalgia, is the Thief subclass. No, it's not powerful. It doesn't get a whole bunch of crazy stuff, but that was what my first 5e character was, and we like ridiculous amount of crazy rolls with that character. I'm pretty sure my sneak attack average was like 4 to 6 always.
That's awesome.
But I think if I was going for pure combat things, I would say that the Soul Knife Rogue is my number one. And I played one of those in a game that Dave ran, and we had a lot of fun with it. I was actually more of a ranged rogue than I was anything else because I was relatively squishy.
Fair.
But yeah, it's really fun. Number two, I don't know what number 2 is. Probably, honestly, I think it's Moon Druid is number 2. Rivers, Thief is one of his favorites as well. It's fun. I think one thing about the Thief that I like is they can use some. I'm pretty sure it's been like 7 years since I played the character, but they can use some of like their cunning action stuff to mess with magic items, which normally you can't use as a bonus action. And also like their capstone ability is like they basically get a second turn in the first round, and like that can prove to be ridiculously invaluable, especially with sneak attack. And we got Black Dragon RPG in the chat. John, what's going on?
What's up, John?
John loves the Spore Druid. Spore Druid's great. Dave played one of those. I think if we'd have done this video several years ago, Dave's answers would be Druid.
Yeah.
And mine would still be Rogue. But yeah.
I'd actually never heard of the Spore Druid until where I told you I like doing homework or whatever before I do stuff. So I was looking at different articles from different publications about like their ranks of the best classes and subclasses. And consistently Spore Druid was on there. And I'd actually never heard of that class before looking at those articles. So I'm going to definitely have to look more into that subclass for sure.
It's really fun. It was a Ravnica introduction for the Magic the Gathering folk.
Okay.
They have some really cool abilities. They're kind of like a weird necromancer, but plant-based. Vegan necromancer.
And it had something like something about a symbiote. It was like a move it could do or an ability that it had, something about a living symbiote or something like that. I kept seeing that on the articles too when I was scrolling through.
Yeah. There was something else in my head, but I forgot what it was.
Right, like when we first started playing, I probably would have said Druid and Bard. But as I got more comfortable with 5th edition and I kind of explored different options, like, I don't know, it's weird how, at least my approach with Druid in previous editions, like the way Wild Shape is done in 5th edition feels really different, and them not having an animal companion is kind of weird. But I really like Druid. It's strange because everybody I feel like says Moon Druid is the best. Like, oh, I love Moon Druid, and it's like I really like their spell list though. Like I like Druid for the spells that they have, and the Spore Druid has some interesting kind of buffs for damage and effects that kind of can complement that. But I've never actually played the Moon Druid. I might have to do that, but I know they're really good. I mean, I've seen it. Like Baron's played them, and they're exceptional. But yeah, Druid's got a lot of good subclasses, honestly.
They do, and I think what you're saying, like what you said, like Druids have a really solid spell list. I think that's one of the things that makes the Moon Druid so powerful, is because they can be that up close melee person. Or when they're out of Wild Shape, they can be the spellcaster throwing down some control, throwing down some heat.
Some healing, a little bit of healing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. John, hope you all are doing well, John. We hope you are doing well. Right. And we hope to see you at Final Boss Con.
Bro, yes. Yes, you going to be there? Oh, I hope he's going to be there. I want Jake and Josh to be there. I'm going to keep pressuring them. If not this year, next year. I'm going to keep pressuring them.
That would be awesome.
Right?
And John also says that Spore Druid's going to be a subclass in Baldur's Gate 3. So that would be really cool. Since it was mentioned, we're going to do a quick pitch for Final Boss Con. Final Boss Con is a convention held by Final Boss Con. Blue Dragon Guild member Mackenzie is the founder, creator, mastermind behind Final Boss Con. It's just a convention that is just for everything nerdy, which we all love and enjoy. This year, the Blue Dragon Guild is putting on some miniature painting contests, and you're looking at the 3 judges. Tommy, Dave, and myself are going to be judging. It's going to be a best of show. You can check out our Facebook for some more information. It's just facebook.com/Blue Dragon Guild. Literally, there's going to be a whole lot of fun stuff. Dave is doing a painting class. You can find his social media. It is the Paint Fraud. The Paint Fraud. You can find him, and he's going to be doing a class. He got you showed me the mini, but I don't remember what it is that you're doing for the class. But
it's kind of like a little soldier guy with a halberd. It's going to be pretty interesting. So this is sort of like the launching point of my paint teaching. So this is going to just be the first con I'm at. So it's all kind of the handle and all that's pretty new, but look forward to it. Should be exciting. And I would encourage anybody of any level of painting, whether you've never touched a mini or you feel that you're pretty experienced, there will be something for any level. And it'll be a ton of fun. You get to keep the mini, you get to keep the brush, probably other stuff. So it'll be tons of fun.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try to get in on that for sure.
Yeah.
Paint me up a mini with you. Heck yeah.
John says they're going to try and make it. John's sister's about to have a baby. Congratulations, John. That will be awesome. He'll be potentially taking care of nephews during that time, but that's awesome, John. Congratulations on uncledom once again.
Heck yeah, congrats for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you there.
Just bring the new baby. If she has it like right before or whatever, it's cool. Just bring it to his first con.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm looking forward to it though. It's gonna be super fun.
I'm very excited. Last year's turnout completely blew all of us away. Mackenzie was thinking, yeah, max we'll get maybe like 400 people. It'll be cool. And then 1,000 people walked through the door.
That's awesome.
And
that's super awesome.
For our community, that's just obscene.
Right?
Like, I mean, my graduating class was the largest that my high school had, and we had 50 kids. So,
bro, we were on the exact opposite of the experience spectrum on that end. But I mean, I was with you until that part about the graduating class.
Yeah, we're a rural area, so like our school populations are not the biggest, but yeah, like Final Boss Con 1 was amazing, and Final Boss Con 2 is going to be even better.
Heck yeah.
You know, he's got a theme for it, like Final Boss Con 2, Son of Boss Con.
Well, yes. I kept calling it Final Boss Con 2, Return of the Final Boss Con.
That is brilliant. Only because it's so long, and the redundant, that's brilliant. You should have definitely gone with that. At least a couple promos with it.
I tried. Mackenzie, he wasn't about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But like the community reception to the show has just been absolutely amazing. And Mackenzie, when I say Mackenzie is putting his heart into this, he is quite literally putting his heart and everything he's got into this. So I highly recommend, if you are in the Southern Ohio area, Rio Grande, Ohio, please come check it out. The 3 of us will be there, and it'll be cool.
Heck yeah. Come say what's up. Paint some minis. Learn from Dave. Let me judge you. We'll have a good time.
Also judge the mini that you paint too.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, it was implied. Yeah, it was lost in semantics, but
Okay, so is there any class that you guys haven't, or class or subclass that you guys haven't played that you would like to play?
Yep. I'm gonna shout out. So I saw somebody play it, and like, so my least I don't want to say favorite class, but hands down my least never played it personally class is clerics. Nothing wrong with the builds. Like they're fantastic. They're very versatile. Like they can do a lot of things for you. I just don't necessarily like I just don't want to be a cleric basically. But I played at a game where James that I mentioned was the DM, and this dude named Nate was somewhere from East Europe. I don't know. I'm always like one of the few Americans that I've ever played with or whatever. But Nate played this. I don't. Dang, it was either I think it was a cleric, but now I'm thinking maybe it was a paladin. One of the two. I put it both A and B. I've never played either of them. But the way he played it, like, so just to give you a mental, like, picture like embroidered metal, full flak armor, right? And he had this sword that like, normally it's just the hilt or whatever. But when he activated this power, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a medieval lightsaber, like a flame would come up out of the hilt or whatever. And like the way he played that character was devout to the patron that it like worshipped or whatever for his character. But the way he played it was so dope. And even though like I've never personally felt that interested to try a character, like he specifically made me like realize, hey, that character is actually kind of dope, and it would be pretty fun to play maybe. So I'll go with that one.
That
Yeah,
sounds rad.
right.
Cleric, I like cleric, and both Dave and I have played clerics, and I think maybe Dave and I have the same kind of thought process when it comes to clerics. Like they're good, but there still might be lacking something for both of us. Looks like Mackenzie's joining. Hold up.
Hey,
Woo!
what's up, Mackenzie?
Hey, Tommy, how are you, man?
Not too bad, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Hey, you too.
Honored
man.
that you guys invited me out. We just talked about the con. Super happy to get to see you in person as well.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming, man. That's awesome. Hope you have a good time.
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
Mackenzie, we were just talking about some classes and or subclasses that we have not played that we would like to play.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And Tommy was talking about the cleric, and it sounded pretty fun, the character he observed play. We're not going to tell you about that. We're just going to jump right in.
Straight to the fire.
I caught the last bit where it was like cleric something, and I was like, okay. And I was in. So, man, if something I haven't played much. I mean, I'm playing Wizard now, and I'd never played that before. So that's been kind of fun and weird. And I'm wondering why they just don't like hybrid Wizard and Sorcerer together and just go that one class and go, yep. I played Monk once. I guess I'd like to play it again. I played, I think, for maybe a session or two, and that was it.
Right on. We'll let you think on that a sec. Since we just blindsided you. Dave,
I definitely want to play Monk again too, though. My fault. My fault.
What do you got, Dave?
Oh boy. Honestly, I'm not entirely certain which subclass it is. I want to say it's the Conjuration Wizard. I think I'd like to try that. With my, as we kind of said before, my first edition Druid, he did a lot of the stuff like, he would summon up like elks and snakes and all these kind of things. One time I summoned badgers of all things to burrow through and attack these orcs. Wild. So I know the wizard can kind of do that with summon a bunch of minions and that kind of thing, and they're very good at it. So I think that's probably the one I haven't played that I would like to play next is the like Conjuration Wizard, just to see what that's like. See if I can kind of do a reimagining of that first character as instead of Druid going through like a wizard perspective.
That sounds right. I think for me, I'm pretty sure I've played every single class at least once, but the one I would like to go back and play, and this is Dave's fault, would be the Ranger. Because at the time I played it, 5e, the player's handbook Ranger, it wasn't that great. But now that with the Tasha's updates, like that class is much, much more playable, fun. I'd like to go back and play that. I don't know specifically what subclass I would like, but I don't know. Dave really liked the Horizon Walker, so maybe that one.
It kind of depends on what you want to do. The Horizon Walker kind of build or structure that I had is a little bit one note. It's very much like a ranged damage, like combat oriented. Of course, they do have your typical ranger spells to like heal and that kind of thing, but outside of that, like the Horizon Walker is a little bit one dimensional, like in that sense.
Yeah,
but they are really they've got pretty good speed. They're particularly if you use haste, which is kind of the crux of it. But until you get there, because it takes level 9, I believe, before you finally activate that. But you can do a lot of really fun things with Ranger. Mackenzie actually played the Gloomstalker. That was really, I remember his character in that. That was a lot of fun. That's a pretty cool subclass as well.
When I see people talk about Ranger, Gloomstalker, especially like multi-classing, people are like, yeah, I'm going to multi-class into Gloomstalker. And I think it's like the most popular Ranger subclass, and it's pretty fun. I think we lost Mackenzie.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, he's there.
Yeah, I just had my stuff muted because of the stuff in the background.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, let's jump right into what our like our 4-man team, like the D&D dream team for us. Obviously, all the things we're talking about in this video are all like highly opinionated. There's no one perfect answer. So I guess let's just keep that in mind. Because, people can get worked up sometimes.
Fair.
Mackenzie, what is your dream team, your 4-man D&D dream team?
4 Battlemaster fighters.
Well done.
Fair.
No, dude, that's tough. But I mean, I'm going to put a Battlemaster fighter in there. I really like that, and it always seems to be skillful in helping some sort of person in the party, or just he doing what he needs to do himself. So if you do that, you either have to stick a barbarian or a rogue in there, or maybe both. Just so you can get that style of attack. I like the totem barbarian pretty well. Mm-hmm. I like that one. And there was a rogue I played where you did something that caused you to have advantage by itself if they didn't make some check.
Yes, the Inquisitor.
Yes, that rogue I liked a ton. So now I got a leftover spot, and I have no one that can heal whatsoever. So give me a... I don't know enough about Paladin or Cleric, but I feel it'd be the right one of the two to go, but I don't know enough about them because I haven't played them enough to pick a subclass of it.
That's fair.
So, Healy McFixie Paladin. I'm sure it's somewhere in the back. We can pick that one.
Cool. Tommy, what do you got?
All right, so I think I'm going to go with the Moon Druid, because that one's going to be me or whatever. But I'm going to be healing whenever I'm not wild shaping. And then based off another character that I've played with in a campaign before, and I loved how he did it, Berserker Barbarian, but it's got to be a catfolk. So it's a catfolk Berserker Barbarian with my human Moon Druid. And then rounding out the third place spot, I think I'm going to give that to the Drunken Master Monk, and it's going to be a catfolk again. And my last place spot, this is going to be the heavy hitter, even though they're going to look visibly maybe a little bit more frail. But it's going to be my Hexblade Warlock, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my 4 right there.
That's a unique team.
The Moon Druid, yeah.
Like with the monk and the barb, like that's fun.
That's going to be my team right there.
I guess monk is another one of those classes that I haven't played very much, and I don't know too much about the Drunken Master, but now you got me wanting to look at it.
It's the chi or whatever. I can't remember if they call it ki or chi or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's what they actually call it in the class or whatever. But you get these points basically that you can use like for special abilities within your turn and round or as bonus actions. Like it's super cool. They're real agile, real just smooth, slippery, good fighters. They're not too squishy, but that's what we got the Berserker Barbarian for.
Yep. Sounds rad. Now, I have a list of a 4-man team. This is from our good friend Jake from J&J Tabletop. I asked him to be on the stream. He unfortunately was not able to make it. But his 4-man team is Vengeance Paladin, Moon Druid, Lore Bard, and Gloomstalker Ranger. The Paladin smites. Vengeance gives Hunter's Mark to pair with Great Weapon Master. Moon Druid is the emergency tank. They can help and do anything needed. Gloomstalker Ranger is the scout, but also for sharpshooter and a deadly first round to take out enemy spellcasters. And finally, the Lore Bard will focus on battlefield control. They're the face of the party. They can give inspiration, and that will allow the Paladin and Ranger to just throw down all day. And he also added that everybody has access to healing of some kind.
I like that a lot.
I think that's a neat
pairing.
It's balanced. It's solid. Yeah, that's not a bad list.
So, Jake, since you're not here and you're not watching, what we're going to do is you're going to run a D&D game for the 4 of us, and we're all going to play these characters.
Yes. Yes.
I thought of another idea. We all 4 make our party of 4. It's a battle royale. When one character hits 0, there's no death saves, and it's which team comes out as the winner, but it's a 4 for all.
All right.
I'm down with that too.
I want to do that. We're going to figure that out.
I'm a fan of PvP, so either way, I'd be playing PvE mostly because I'm a builder in most games. But I love me a good old fashioned throwdown, so I'm down either way for sure.
Let's do it. I know a guy who can make us some digital battle maps.
Man, who might that be?
I don't know. His name's like Tommy.
Yes, and those commissions are open. He might not have painted in like months, and he needs to get back to it. But he definitely has.
Wait, you can paint, man?
Oh man, I used to like back in the day, bro. I was decent. I got good at it.
Left them gray. That's all I do. I didn't know you could even paint them.
Bro, it took me like months when I started painting them. Okay, like it was months before I ever actually based like a mini. Yeah. And that was most of the heat that I got once I started painting them. They were like, well, you're not actually finishing your paint job. You didn't put them on a base yet. But yeah, then I got full on deep with. I think I got a little bit good at it. I made a few decent paints, I think.
Dude, Tommy's being a little humble. I've seen a lot of his stuff. He is very good.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Of course, man.
And actually, so you guys and John, Black Dragon RPG in the chat, and Jake and Josh, J&J, which on the maps, they've called me on stream before their official map maker. I loved hearing that right there. But I've made a ton of maps, not only for Baron and Blue Dragon, but J&J, I've made a ton of maps for them too. But you guys were all like with me when I first got on Twitter, which when I first got on Twitter way back in the day, I hadn't painted a mini ever in my life. I hadn't even started playing D&D yet. So I'm pretty sure that we like actually became friends on Twitter once I had actually made that jump into TTRPGs or whatever. But yeah, like the entire time I've known all of y'all, that's been my entire journey in the
Nice.
TTRPG
That's
world from start to current.
Awesome. It's great, man. Baron's been telling me a ton more. I was excited when he's like, I think he's going to come. I was like, that would be amazing. That'd be
It's
amazing.
only like 3 hours away. So I'm going to just ride out there. And so we are having issues finding somebody that can watch my dog, like literally just overnight. But like so somebody in my family had passed away, like extended family. So most of my family who was going to watch the dog, they're going to be out of town for those services or whatever that weekend. So I think that there's still a chance that me, the wife, and the daughter will all be out there getting a hotel for the night to be there 15th and 16th. But worst case, I'm driving out first thing in the morning on the 15th, and I'll be there all day, and then just coming back to Indy later that night or whatever.
Dang.
Nice.
But it's only like a 3-hour drive, and I'll probably make it in like 2.5, so it won't be too bad at all.
Nice. Again, we are very excited to have you, and it'll be awesome to meet you in person and look at miniatures together.
It's going to be tons of fun.
No one's excited you're coming, Dave. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, wait, I am member. I already told him that, though. I'm excited to meet y'all. And John. I hope John's going to be there, too.
Heck yeah. But yeah, let's plan a fun battle royale. Maybe we can get John, Jake, and Josh in there. Maybe we can get Rivers in. That'd be cool. Be a lot of fun.
Dave, did we get Dave's team? We did not.
No, that's next.
No,
We didn't get my team either.
Oh, well.
I would say that was like the halftime show. That was the intermission on it.
Halftime show.
Sir David,
Yes, sir.
what would be your 4-man dream team?
Well, I really struggle with it because there's so many classes and combinations that I like. And what I finally come down on is it might be a little dangerously similar to that last one. But so I also chose College of Lore Bard. I also have the Forge Domain Cleric, the Oath of the Ancients Paladin, and Circle of the Land Druid. Between the Lore Bard and the Circle of the Land Druid, you've got tons of control, buff, debuff, which I love, and I'm control oriented. And then the Forge Cleric can actually have an incredibly high AC at level 1. They've got a lot of access to really good defensive things, and your Paladin is, can be a tank as well. And like the previous group, everybody can heal. So it would be, in my opinion, it would be a very difficult team to kill. If not putting out a lot of damage, then we'll just war of attrition.
I like it. I think Forge Cleric is one of those clerics that kind of gets slept on a little bit. I typically don't hear people talking about that one very much, but it's really fun.
That's my favorite cleric domain. I played a couple, but I just love the idea of I can't remember if it's a 21 or a 22 AC you can get at level 1. I think if I'm remembering right, full plate is an 18 plus. You can get their domain ability lets you buff it up to a 1, which brings you to 19. They let you use a shield, which brings you up to 21. And then if you cast Shield of Faith as a bonus action, that brings you up to 23. So turn 1, level 1, you could have an AC 23. And then the strategy that I used with them was you take the cantrip oh gosh, what a radiance? It's been a while. I think that's what it is. But it's just drop right in, radial damage, and they'll
Yeah.
never hit you because you got a 23 and you're level 1.
That's legit. Yeah.
That's rad. That's rad.
But I had a lot of fun playing that one.
I like that. When I think about my dream team, I do kind of have a hard time choosing, but I think that for my main melee, my tank, whatever you want to call them, I'm going to go Zealot Barbarian. They have a very I forgot the word for it. Consistent. They have a very consistent damage output, which is very important for someone who's going to be on the front line. For my damage spike, I'm going to go with a rogue. Honestly, any of the rogue subclasses are going to do great here, but I'm going to go with the mastermind, just because the mastermind, as a bonus action, they can use help, and they can use it at a range of 30 feet. And I think that's extremely, extremely important. Then for my area of effect damage dealing master, I'm going to go with the good old, well, not conjuration, the blaster wizard. I forgot what it's. Yeah, invocation. I'm going to go with invocation wizard. And the main idea behind that is because they get the sculpt spell ability, so they can drop a fireball down and just do it around all their friends, so those people won't take any damage from that. I think that's kind of, like basic wizard, but I think that ability is very important, especially if you have those people up front. And while the rogue has a decent health, it's not always the best. So anything he can do, I mean, they get evasion too, but anything to help. And then for my fourth and final, we're gonna go druid, and we're gonna go circle of the stars. I think that's the one it is. They get some really fun abilities, and like they can throw their stars out and heal people with those stars. And it's one of the few like that subclass is one of the few classes that I would multi-class with, because if you multi-class that with a life cleric, they get some just pretty nasty healing abilities. Now, obviously, this team doesn't. The 4-man team, we're not taking multi-class into account, but I think that'd be a pretty solid team, especially for just I'm going for damage consistency, and both the wizard and the druid are going to have some decent crowd control as well. So, yeah.
Heck yeah. Another solid list.
So, I mean, Battle Royale is just sounding like a blast.
And I think I was slow to understand. So at first I thought we each make one character and we were fighting to the death of the character, those 4. But are you talking about Pokemon style, where we each make all 4 of those characters that we just made, and then we're just we're in real life controlling our team of 4 against the other teams of 4?
Yeah, I was thinking Baron's 4, my 4, your 4, Dave's 4, all on the field at once, and you go, all right, so you're watching this person to know I got to kill that guy, but he may come from over here. Okay.
I'm with it. Oh, that'd be super fun. So with it.
This will be a 16-hour live stream.
Right. My team will be dead in the first 12 minutes.
So before I got into TTRPGs, the 2 board games that I played the most were Risk and Rise and Decline of the Third Reich. It's a very similar game. Not Risk, but Axis and Allies. So when I heard wargaming when I first got on Twitter, I had no idea what 40K was. I kept looking for like war games, like I was used to war games or whatever. But that's what this sounds like. Like we get our little squads and we got to actually watch the whole battlefield, not just one country, but 3 other countries in opposition geographically. I'm with it. That'd be super fun.
That would be fun. Oh man.
Yeah.
I also still like the idea of making Jake Dungeon Master for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to talk to him a few times, but I've never actually. And so I might just be having a moment because my brain is horrible after years of irresponsible / fun decision making. But I don't think I've ever played a game with Jake and Josh. Like I think we've only just like talked like this, or like when I did a Kickstarter a few years ago, they had me on for an interview for that. But I've never actually played with them. So like, yeah, that'd be dope.
That would be cool. Mackenzie and I ran a Ravenloft game that had Mackenzie, Jake, Josh, and their friend Nooch all in it. And it was set to, we were set to do it a lot, but life kind of got in the way and we weren't able to continue on with it. So it's kind of hanging out there in the middle of nowhere. We'll get back to it one
Right.
day.
Heck yeah.
Did we get between all of the lists? Was there a list that had at least each of the PHP classes? You know what I mean? Did we cover everything? I know nobody said artificer, but like I think we might have had every class.
Did we get wizard?
Yeah, there was a wizard.
Okay.
Was there a fighter? I know we had
Yeah,
a
I had one.
barbarian.
Yeah,
Okay.
Fighter. I think
Bard was covered. Cleric and paladin.
Yeah.
Druid.
Yeah,
Tommy
so
the
everything.
Warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got them all.
That's neat because it shows that like there's. I feel like that represents that there's not ever really one perfect, demographic or setup or combination. Like there's a lot of different perspectives and avenues you can potentially take.
Artificer got no love.
I'm looking at D&D Beyond, and it also lists. I don't know if this is official. It's under a separate tab, Critical Role, Blood Hunter. I've never heard of a Blood Hunter class.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it's actually in a book. I think it's actually like a enemy in something, isn't it? Or something really close to it.
Yeah, the Blood Hunter is a class that Matt Mercer made.
Okay.
It's actually
it says unofficial. Yeah,
it's actually really cool. He from what I've read, from what I understand, it is fairly balanced when it comes to the other 12, 13, however many classes we have.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of it's got 4 subclasses, and they all kind of borrow from existing subclasses to make up some of the abilities. My favorite is the Order of the Lichen, which you turn into like a werewolf, and it's really fun.
I might have to look at that.
Let's see. In the chat, we got the D&D wannabes. Graviturgy Wizard can give disadvantage on strength saving throws. Battle Master can make the enemy drop their weapon. Then the Thief Rogue can pick it up as a bonus action. And the Druid can turn into a wolf, knocking them prone.
That's wild.
Like Dave said, like that just shows there are just so many different combinations that you can make a party from, and it's ridiculous. I think that's one of the things that I like the most about D&D is just there are so many different outcomes, and the game came out 2013, 2014, right around there, and here we are still talking about it, still like theory crafting all this time later. I mean, if you go back to 3.5, people are still playing 3.5, playing Pathfinder. People are still theory crafting on that. So I think that just shows the scope of all of this stuff. It's fun. People like the theory craft, whether they play it or not. It's fun to do.
Agreed. Literally, what got me into D&D when I first started or whatever was sitting there with a whole bunch of like printed player sheets that I found online and just going through the player handbook, making a bunch of different just random characters and then learning how to play the game by just battling them. Like I was playing D&D solo because I didn't know anybody else yet to teach me, but yeah, like that's what got me into it, was just sitting there exploring the possibilities of, oh, I could make someone like this. Oh, I could do this, add it with this, and make a character like that. It's a great game.
It is.
Oh,
My cat is fighting something. Yeah. But yeah, I think, and when I was talking to Jake, when I read off his list, he and I talked a little bit. He said it was a fun exercise for him because he was able just to look at all the different things, and we've all done this, like in the Blue Dragon Guild, whether it be like on the channel or just amongst ourselves. We've talked about this several times, and like it's just really fun just to think about it. One of the first videos we did on the channel, Mackenzie and I actually talked about this, like what our favorite team would be. It's poor quality because, we shot on a webcam. The heart was there. Let's see. John says, I wish you were close enough to play in my weekly game, Tommy.
Same, bro.
And same with Blue Dragon Guild. We'd have a great time. We would, John.
it's fun.
I think for us, we could actually, we could just all converge and do like a fun, like one-shot thing. Because we're all relatively close enough. I actually think John would be the middle ground for all of us just to converge on.
Where's John at? He's in between me and where the con's gonna. You're at where the con's gonna be at, right? Or are you traveling to the con?
No, we're at where the con is.
Oh, so dude, John is stupid close to me. Then he'd only be like an hour and a half away from me.
Yeah.
Y'all should just come to Gen Con. You should just do that. You should just do that in a couple months. I got the garage with my game table, all the books and sheets and painted minis. Right?
Dave, aren't we going to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, we are.
Bro, heck yeah, definitely gonna have to link up for sure. I was there last year with I worked the booth for Oddfish Studio games at Gen Con last year, but I met, if you guys seen on Twitter, NPC Charles. He does D&D photography or whatever. Yeah, but I got to hang out with him for a second or whatever. But yeah, we'll exchange cons. I'm coming out in 2 weeks, and then in like 2 months, y'all come back this way.
Man, that's good.
Actually, Gen Con's like first week of August, I think. So it's only about a month away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good call. Because it's July. Well, about to be July tomorrow.
I thought Black Dragon RPG was in Dayton. I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour and like 15 minutes for me.
Yeah, it's about like
2
an hour and a half, 2 hours for us.
Exactly 2 hours. Well, depending if it's the Beaver Creek area, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
I used to work there.
It's good times. You spent the night at the mall there.
I did. No one knew. I was there for a while. There's nothing that goes on in that mall at 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
That's probably a good thing.
It's a random dude walking around, and it was me.
Oh man. I think that we should talk about what our absolute favorite D&D story is.
Okay.
You get your memories dredged up. I've got two. One of them involves Mackenzie, and the other one involves Dave.
I hope the one story with me is when we played at your house, like your parents' home.
Oh, it is.
Okay, that was going to be mine, I think.
Let me go grab my charger real quick.
Okay, Dave.
So, I mean, pants on.
Dave.
This
This is a family show, Dave. So one of my favorite D&D stories, and obviously one of Mackenzie's too, and we have different perspectives on this. Obviously, our friend Skylar was dungeon master, and he says we come across some winter wolves, and Skylar says something about their fur coats being like he gives a description, you see the snow land on their fur coats, blah blah blah.
Their white fur coat or
Their
their white
fur
coats.
Yeah, they're white. Yeah, they're white coats, and we fight them and we beat them. And after the fight, Mackenzie says, "Mackenzie,
I want to take one of their coats." He's like, "You want to cut their fur off?" So I thought you said they're wearing coats.
And Skylar's response, "Yeah, that's their fur."
I was like, "Oh, I thought they were just hanging out, like strolling out of the woods with some white coats and like a chain." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna take it." Turns out I couldn't.
That is pretty funny, though. That's pretty funny.
I was so excited.
That was like 2009.
I hadn't played very much at all. That might have been an early game.
It was that was like that wasn't in the first games we played, but I think that was Skylar's first DM game, and I'm pretty sure that was at the cabin.
It might have been. Been.
For those of you who don't know the reference of the cabin, my family used to own a gigantic lodge. We don't anymore because it burnt down.
Yep.
So to my second story.
We'll just end that story there. Anyways.
Yep, that's it. That's all you get. My second D&D story, it was, again, in our first 5th edition game. And we were at the point in the story where our characters were pretty high level, and Dave's character and Tommy Birdlicker's character, they were off causing mischief, and by mischief I mean Dave was just messing with Tommy's character, in character messing with Tommy's character. And there had been a player character turned NPC that was based off of John Constantine. His name was James Byzantine. He had gone into the abyss and messed with a couple of demon lords, a couple devil lords, and he basically made a lot of people mad, stole a lot of stuff he shouldn't have. And I don't exactly remember how it turned around, how it came about, but we had James' soul or something trapped. We had James trapped in Tommy's sword of life trapping. And Dave had a jar of souls that James Byzantine had stole. And we're outside of Tommy's character's house because he was the Earl of a town. Another fun story. But these cultists roll up and they summon the avatar of Orcus outside of Tommy Birdlicker's house. And in character, Tommy and Dave are like, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know if we can fight that. And my character rolls up and is like, all right, Orsk, Dave's character. Orsk, give me one of your jars. So I go out there with just a random jar, and I was very careful in how I worded this. I go up to the avatar of Orcus. I'm like, here, this is the one they said it was. And Chris told me to roll a deception check, and I'm pretty sure it was a natural 20, and I completely just bluff checked a demon lord. And it's like, all right, this is going to come back to bite us at some point, but we're okay now.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time.
It was.
It's funny.
I tried to clarify between Tommy from Madth Productions and Tommy Birdlicker, our friend.
That's fair.
So if you ever hear us say like, "Oh yeah, Tommy sucks," it's not this Tommy. It's our Tommy.
Bird liquor Tommy.
Birdlicker Tommy.
I mean, depending on what we're talking about, I'd be fine with it too. It could be me too. I could have messed up. I don't know. It's fine.
No. Tommy, what fun D&D story you got?
So I'll go with my favorite story because it was not at all what I was reading in the moment, expecting to happen in the moment, and it subverted my expectations so much. I started laughing hysterically on the video call uncontrollably for like an extended period of time. But my favorite overall moment from a D&D campaign, and it's not like one individual moment, but just like something that like I got invested in and I didn't think I would get invested in. But in one campaign, I was a druid. We came across this little orphaned like baby polar bear cub, and like the way that James the DM like brought it up was just that it was like we could see it in the peripherals, like basically giving me a little piece of bait, like dangling it on a hook. And I was like, oh man, I gotta go check out the little orphan, cub. I can't leave a little baby out there. And like through like 2 months worth of campaigns, like this little cub, like I took it under my wing. My character took it under its wing and like helped like heal the cub and then find its family again, like return it back to its land or whatever. But like I really came like to like in my own little way love that little cub. And I never thought that I would care about like a random D&D, like not even an NPC, but just a random wild animal or whatever. And it ended up being with me for like 2 months, and I loved that. Never thought that would happen. But my favorite story is James the DM again. It's with the dude Nath that I mentioned that had the paladin or the cleric with all the armor and the medieval lightsaber, basically. But so we came across a white dragon in a wooded area, and it had like a cave that had like a little enclave, like big enclave or whatever. So it was like a hill that you could get up on top of with the forest all the way around it, the cave underneath or whatever. And so the Catfolk Barbarian, it was from this party. It was in the front lines. Nate's character was in the front lines. Me and then another tiefling wizard sorcerer thing or whatever. We were kind of in the back doing some range stuff. And long story short, my heroics not existent in this fight because I told them I'm gonna wild shape into a giant spider, follow me into this cave. My plan was I turn into a giant spider, go into the cave, I'm hanging from the ceiling, we lure the dragon into the cave. It can't fly in the cave, it doesn't have enough room, we take away its biggest advantage. I shoot my net webbing or whatever at it in my spider form. Boom, it can't fly away. I webbed it trapped. Y'all stab it to death. That was the plan. But I think I literally only communicated, I'm about to turn into a giant spider. Just follow my lead. And so I turned into a spider and I went into the cave. They did not follow me into the cave. The dragon did not follow me into the cave. So I spent the entirety of this fight by myself as a spider in the cave, just like because I can't talk to him now. I'm a spider, so I'm literally just sitting on the ceiling like nobody followed my lead. But Nate, so again, he was one of the ones in the front line battling it out with this white dragon using this sword. They chase it up onto the enclave above the cave, and they're fighting it out. And the dragon gets knocked off the enclave back down onto the ground. And my buddy Carlos, who was the Catfolk Barbarian, he goes leaping off. I picture everything cinematically when I'm playing the game. So like I just picture this ferocious buff catfolk flying through the air with like an axe in one hand, a sword in the other, lands on the dragon, meleeing on the ground, and now it's Nate's turn. And so he's been gung-ho this whole time right there with Carlos. I figured, man, he's about to come flying with this flaming lightsaber thing just through the air and stab this dragon down. And Nate's described like he's going through options, thinking about what he's going to do. And then he finally says, I'm going to go ahead and carefully walk down the enclave to make sure that my character doesn't fall or slip or anything like that. And it was that letdown where you're all like, man, you were building this up, and that's what it was. That was the subversion for me in the moment. I fully expected this epic cinematic to continue, and this paladin with all his shining armor was going to do something epic. And then in my head, it was like a Monty Python sketch almost. Like I see the same paladin in full flak, but just like kind of gingerly like stepping down the rocks as it's going down to continue the fight. But that's probably my individual favorite moment because I did not expect it, and I lost composure for a few minutes there. It was hilarious to me.
I love that.
They're all like, why are you laughing? I'm like, because I thought he was going to be a hero. I didn't know he was going to just walk down the side of the hill.
Oh, man.
That's probably my favorite story, though.
My favorite part of that was like, yeah, I'm a spider. We're going to trap the dragon, and then I didn't relay that. And
yes, I had to communicate it, not just think about it. And I thought about it, but then was like, just follow my lead. I'm wild shaping into a giant spider, and I'm crawling into the cave. Didn't nobody come into the cave, and that's what I asked Jay. I'm like, there's no way I can describe what I was planning was there. He said, nope, you pretty much just got to sit there now. That's fair though.
What do you got, Dave?
Well, as a player or as a DM?
Ooh, either.
Okay. All right. I'll probably go as a DM because as I've been thinking about this, like, I think all my favorite kind of cool stories were when I was a DM, which I don't know if that means I'm a good DM or a bad player. But I would have to say my coolest or most fond memory in that sense. It's a little bit complicated, but I'll try to be as simple and concise as possible. Basically, so I was DMing, as I said. So the party came to like this area where there's like this kind of undead wizardy type guy. And this is I took inspiration from the Saltmarsh books. So it's Saltmarsh-ish, but not exactly. So they kind of find this guy who is this kind of skeletal alchemist, and he offers them, they're there to, kind of do stuff, and they're doing their own thing, and he's like, hey, I can offer you guys some, incredible insight. And I can potentially give you, I can't remember what it was, like truth or some, forethought or whatever. And so obviously the whole party's like, okay, cool. Like, I want to gain knowledge or whatever. And I had them say, okay, all right, what you got to do is, everybody drink from this cup. And so they drank from the cup. And then after that, the skeletal alchemist kind of guy is like, haha, I got you. And this golem thing kind of comes in and they're fighting it. And like nothing is working. Like they're just like, they're doing everything they can to chip away at this guy. And it's like, they're not just getting anywhere. And so eventually, like, I think like Chris's guy dies, like Mackenzie's guy dies, like the whole party wipes. And then I tell them, and then you put down your cups. As though the whole thing was like an Inception type thing. And the look on everybody's faces when they realized like this hour-long fight didn't happen and it was kind of like a future possibility. They were all like I remember that, and I tried so hard to make that smooth at the time, and like everybody was just like, "Oh, I'm ready for that," and like I love that so much. It was so rewarding as a DM because I've got a group that's been playing for a long time, and when you can get a group of veteran players like really shock them like that, like it's such a blast because we've seen and we fought everything. We know we've done a lot of stuff with D&D. But when you can get those moments, it's just like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like, and ever since then, like it spurned an inside joke with our group. It's like, oh, I put the cup down. It's like, oh no, we're back to reality.
Yeah, like something really bad happens, and then we just like, And then you put the cup down like it didn't happen. Like, let's just reset down. Go back to the previous save state.
Yep.
That's mega dope. And the cup now is like your party's totem from Inception or whatever. That's how you know when you're in reality.
Mackenzie unmuted his mic. Mackenzie, what's up?
Sorry, there's just a bunch of Did I freeze?
Your camera's
I
froze.
Oh, there we go. Good now?
Maybe. I think it's still froze.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
I
we'll
can
never
hear
know.
you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Nobody's got to look at me.
And it's not like an off-putting face that it froze on. Actually, it just looks like
good.
you're in front of your camera. Like
Yeah.
it's not like when you pause a TV show and they're like,
Yeah.
like, you're good. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
You look like a stock image.
I'm good. It's actually just I'm walked away. Just left that one there.
That's a new picture of it.
I'm sorry about that. It's not doing it on my end. That's what's weird.
Only thing
Maybe
that's
it's not
tripping
moving
me
on.
out the whole time is like, so okay, if you're looking at it, it'd be like his right side, but like when you're looking at it, it's our left side visually on the screen. But like there's a little bit of a light glare on your head, and it makes it almost look like you got like a Gumby shape going on almost a little bit. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Great.
I like it though. I'm with it.
I
Amazing.
guess in quick, I loved that thing with Dave. That was great. That was the campaign. I played one of my favorite characters of all time, which was a character that had multiple split personality. I don't write any character's backstory before I do anything. So I played a changeling who had a split personality that decided he could go into different people that he's seen in his life or that had died. So could be those different characters. So whenever I was that person as the character, I would only fight using that style. So I was like a bard, cleric, fighter, something else. And it would only be, okay, well, this day I'm just this guy. So I'm only using this style, only this. And I loved it.
That'd be really fun.
That was a really cool thing. My other one funny story is, again, when I was first starting to play D&D. And I did not finish reading the sentence on how to make a barbarian. And I was doing my thing. I was like, man, I think that's wild. And they're like, why can you fly? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, barbarians fly. I was like, I'm reading them right here in the book. And they're like, what do you mean? I just said, barbarians fly. And then I did not read the rest of the sentence. It said, into rage. I just went, he's flying. That was it. I was done. I didn't need it anymore. I said, that's solid. Let's go. Turns out he couldn't fly. Okay.
I like the idea though of a barbarian who thinks that he can fly,
Right
and then like randomly jumps off stuff and just falls repeatedly, but is convinced that he can fly. He just messed that one up or whatever.
He just thought he could. Somebody said, you know, you can fly into. I'm out of here. And he didn't need nothing else, man. That was one of my other favorite ones. I had another one I forgot. It was a really quick one too. That was just like, I like it when we did this, and it was just I remember it. So we could. I remember one character could craft bear statues, and the other one could craft bear hats for wooden statues only. And I was like, okay, but we went into a room and we like opened the door, and I don't remember what was behind the door. It was some like monster. Let's just say like a minotaur or something. It's like you open the door, and like, well, there's a minotaur back in the door, and the characters went, I shut it. And we shut the door, and we all went. And then nothing happened, and we just left.
It was a bear, because that was mine. That was mine and Chris's characters. That was we played 2 halfling rogues, and it was Chris because he's like, I opened the door. There's a bear in there. I closed the door.
Then just nothing happened. We were like, that's all you got to do? Well, let's get out of here.
That's the same game. Because remember we played in your garage with the garage door open.
Yeah.
And
that burnt down too, man.
That's the one where like we were fighting like a dire weasel, but we thought it was just a regular sized weasel, and we're like, how is this weasel beating us up so much? It's like, oh no, it's like a giant weasel. Like, oh, all.
They just said there was a weasel in the barrel, and it was like, all right, 8 damage, 14. I was like, what's wrong with this weasel? Like, this is I'm
Super
new to this,
jacked
but this is a
weasel.
mean weasel.
That was-
Beat us
oh,
down, man.
great.
Beat us down. I do like the time we played Icewind Dale when you were fighting Ariel at the end, and everybody was down. There were 2 times where I think Baron rolled a 20 to get back up, and no one else was up. And it was like, I'm back up, let's heal. And that fight is a long fight, just straight as it is.
Yeah, with that fight, Baron rolled 2 20s on the death save. I rolled a 20 on the death save, and had we not done that, we wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
Any one of those rolls, had they not been a 20, we would not have won that fight. It was
That's
like
wild.
that's as thin of a margin as you could possibly get. I wish of everything in D&D, I wish we could have recorded.
Oh man,
that.
I remember people were going,
Yeah,
and
it was unbelievable.
it was snowing outside and just felt so right, and we were like, man, that place burnt down too. Basically, we had a campaign and we burned down where we're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that RL fight, man, like that was like that was just so fun because and like Dave said, like we were literally jumping up and cheering like we jumped like when we finally beat her, we were like, yeah, and we're cheering. The random guy who works in that building on Sundays was like, what's going on down there?
Yeah. He made it out of the fire.
Yeah, he did.
But I'm gonna have to jump. I'm gonna go get some stuff. But Tommy, it was great talking with you, man. Dave, good seeing
My
you.
pleasure.
Baron, thanks for having me for number 200. I'll see you guys on 400.
Yeah.
It'll be great. It'll be
See you
great.
again, B.
See ya.
See you in a couple weeks, man.
Oh, my house is on fire.
See, I'm sitting here thinking, like, man, people in Indy are crazy, but apparently people in Ohio are pyros, man.
Oh, Tommy, have I got some stories for
That's
you
fair.
later. To be fair, only one of those buildings burnt
That's
down.
fair.
Disclaimer.
That's fair. That's fair.
Also, Mackenzie said it. I did not announce this earlier. This live stream is the 200th video for the Blue Dragon Guild.
Hey, happy 200. Now I'm even more honored and privileged. Thank you for having me on to share a monumentous event.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I think we are about at the end of our stream here. We talked a lot of D&D, a lot of fire, and yeah. Again, anybody watching, please come out to Final Boss Con July 15th at the University of Rio Grande. You'll see the 3 of us there, where you can jump into some mini painting contests, a miniature painting class by Dave, aka the Paint Fraud. We'd really like to see a ton of people there. Like it's hands down, like it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a blast. Also, please make sure you check out Tommy's content. Tommy has his own YouTube channel. He posts videos for the video game Ark. Dave is also a big fan of that game.
Bro, play with me. So plug the Architects Official or whatever. That's the cluster I play on. Most people just know that they build or whatever, but it's a full cluster. It's got every single map on the cluster and slightly boosted rates. It's mostly PvE. I've been off for like a month and a half because of some life changes for me at work and personal life or whatever the past month and a half. But normally Thursdays I stream from the cluster on Twitch and or YouTube. And the last Thursday of every month, I didn't get to do it yesterday. Hopefully July, it's going to be back on track. But I host, it was called Tributes to the Architects. We rebranded it to Arc FPS, Arc First Person Shooter. And it's all sponsored. All the maps are sponsored by Nitrado. And this map Nitrado gave us is PvP. I get to build out different first-person shooter arena builds. I like to harken back to like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark 64,
Oh, wow.
Quake, like my favorite FPSs that I grew up with. I set up arenas to like mimic or emulate that vibe, that style, that play. And just maybe with some wild dinos that might be running around the builds as well. And that's literally what it is. You spawn into the map. Everybody starts at the same point with basically nothing or a basic starter set that I set up. We all run into the arena, find guns, find ammo, and the whole point is to be the last man standing over and over and over till the end of the game session. But so yeah, if you play Ark at all, anybody watching, if you play Ark, Architects Official, that's where you'll find me at there. That's the content I'm streaming. Definitely would love to have you guys there with us.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can find links down in the good old description to everything that Tommy does. Got his website for Madth Production. I don't think I tagged your socials down there, but
It's Madth Productions everywhere, literally everywhere. So anybody who's looking for me anywhere, Madth Productions, it'll probably get you exactly where you're going.
absolutely. When I say that Tommy makes some really awesome battle maps, I'm not kidding. He's made several for me. If you want to see some of them in action, you can go check out our friends J&J Tabletop at their actual play, Ancient Relics and Hokey Religions. You'll see those maps on there. If you want to check out Dave's stuff, you can find him on Instagram, The Paint Fraud. If you want to check me out, Blue Dragon Guild, check them out. But I'm pretty much everywhere as either Baron BDG or just my name. So, yeah.
Heck yeah. My last plug on the maps, anybody interested but haven't yet decided to pull the trigger on it, all of my maps, commercial or stock on my website, are commercial rights included. That's my thing I try to do to stand out. I'm not trying to get rich off the maps. I look at me making a map for you as me getting to sit at the table with you, and I get to be a part of your gaming experience. That plus the base commission rate is enough for me. Full commercial use rights are always included in any of my maps. So buy one, use it for your live play, use it for your supplement. I don't care. Once you buy it, you can do with it as you want to do with it. Use it to make money.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for checking out the stream. We got John from Black Dragon RPG. We got the D&D Wannabes. We got Rivers RPG channel. Thank you all for checking us out. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep the dice rolling.